Testing is one of those things that all successful affiliates do. They just continuously test everything. Now, when I say everything, I do mean everything. So in this video, I'm going to teach you exactly how to set up a test, what you should be testing on your landing pages, what you should be testing on your offers, what you should be testing on your content, and most importantly, how you learn from the tests that you set up so you can get more conversions and ultimately make more money. So let's dive straight into it. First thing you need to understand is that there are 4 key elements that go into any affiliate marketing campaign. You have an offer, you have a landing page, you have a content piece, and then you have an ad. Now, obviously, some of these things are going to be different depending on the method that you're reusing. But these are the 4 main things that you should always keep in mind. And whenever you're trying to improve something, try and change one variable at a time. So if you change 2 things, you won't know which one was responsible for the change in conversions. Now, I'm not going to get too technical in this video, but if you want to learn more about the technical stuff, you can check out an online course. But basically, there are 2 types of tests that you need to run. You need to run a split test, which is also known as an A/B test, and you need to run a multivariate test. So let's start with the split test. A split test, or an A/B test, is where you have 2 versions of something. It could be 2 versions of your landing page, 2 versions of your offer, 2 versions of your content, or even 2 versions of your ad. You show one version to a certain amount of people, and then you show the other version to another certain amount of people, and then you see which one performs better. If you have 2 versions and version A converts better, then you would just use version A moving forward. If you have 2 versions and version B converts better, then you would just use version B moving forward. Now, moving on to the multivariate test. This is where you have 3 or more versions of something. For example, you could have 3 versions of your landing page, and each version has a different headline and a different image and maybe a different call to action, button, color. Now you show each person one of those 3 versions, and then you see which version performs the best. If version 1 performs the best, then you would use that moving forward. But if version 2 performs the best, then you would use that moving forward. Now, the great thing about running tests like this is that you can test multiple things at once without having to run multiple split tests. For example, if you wanted to test 3 different headlines and 3 different images, you would create 9 different variations. That way you can test 3 headlines and 3 images all at once. The next thing that you need to understand is what you should be testing. There are literally endless things that you can test on your landing pages, on your content, on your offers. Here are a few examples. You could test different headlines. You could test different images. You can test the layout of your landing page. You can test different colors. You can test different ad copy. You can test the length of your content. You can test the headline of your content. You can test different email subject lines. Like I said, there are literally endless things that you can test. The last thing I want to talk about in this video is how you go and to learn from your tests. At the end of the day, the whole goal of your tests is to learn something. If you're not learning anything from your tests, then you're not doing them correctly. Whenever you set up a test, you need to have a hypothesis. So before you even set up the test, write down your hypothesis. Write down what you think is going to happen. Then, after you run the test, look at the results and see who was right, you or the data. If the data was right, then follow the data. But if you were right, then you need to figure out why you were wrong, why the data didn't agree with you. By doing this, you're going to get better and better at setting up tests, and you're going to learn what works and what doesn't work. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, make sure to leave a like on the video.